The conference room at Morrison Manufacturing smelled like leather and disappointment. I stood in the doorway, still wearing my scrubs from a 12-hour shift in the cardiac unit, watching my siblings orchestrate what they thought was their masterpiece of corporate theft. Finally, my brother Douglas said without looking up from the stack of papers, "We've been waiting for an hour, Emma. Though I don't know why you bothered coming straight from the hospital. This is a business meeting, not a medical emergency." My sister Caroline didn't even acknowledge my arrival, too busy highlighting sections of what looked like incorporation documents. My younger brother Preston was already popping champagne, confident in their predetermined outcome. "Sign here to finalize the split," Douglas demanded, sliding papers across the mahogany table. "We've divided Dad's company 3 ways. Nurses don't run businesses, so we've allocated you a silent partner share, 15%. You'll get quarterly dividends without any voting rights or operational responsibilities." I remained standing, my hand steady on my work bag. 3 months. I'd kept the secret for 3 months while they planned this ambush. 15%? I asked quietly. Of a company worth $40 million? Be grateful. Caroline finally looked up, her MBA from Wharton practically radiating from her power suit. "We could have structured this without you entirely. Douglas has his finance background, I have my business degree, and Preston has been Dad's operations manager for 5 years. You give bedpans and take temperatures." "I save lives," I corrected, though I knew it wouldn't matter to them. "Noble work," Douglas said with the kind of condescension that could strip paint. "But irrelevant to running a manufacturing empire. Just sign the papers, Emma. We've already met with the board. They agree that medical professionals have no place in industrial leadership." The board. I bit back a smile, thinking of my meetings with those same board members over the past 3 months. They'd been surprisingly supportive once they understood the situation. "Which board members?" I asked, pulling out a chair but not sitting. "Henderson? Kumar? Williams?" Preston paused mid-sip of champagne. "How do you know their names?" "I know all their names," I said. "I also know Henderson's wife just finished chemotherapy at my hospital. I was her nurse. Kumar's father had triple bypass surgery last year. I was on the surgical team. Williams sends me Christmas cards because I helped his daughter through her eating disorder when she was in our psychiatric unit." "Touching," Caroline said coldly. "But personal connections don't translate to business acumen. Sign the papers." I reached into my bag, my fingers finding the document that would shatter their carefully constructed coup. "Before I sign anything, perhaps we should discuss why Dad's been in the hospital for 3 months." The room stilled. They knew he'd been hospitalized, of course. They'd visited exactly twice, Douglas for 15 minutes to check on things, and Caroline for a photo opportunity she posted on LinkedIn about family values in challenging times. "He had a stroke," Preston said slowly. "We all know that. A massive stroke," I clarified. "One that left him unable to speak or make business decisions. One that required round-the-clock care and extensive rehabilitation. Which is why we're taking control," Douglas interjected. "Someone needs to run the company while he recovers." "Someone already is," I said, pulling out the power of attorney documents. "Actually, I've been CEO for 3 months." The pen dropped from Douglas's hand, rolling across the table and falling to the floor with a small clatter that seemed to echo in the sudden silence. "That's impossible," Caroline whispered, snatching the documents. "Dad would never." "Dad did," I interrupted. 6 months ago, after his first minor stroke. The one you all dismissed as stress. He called me to the hospital, not as his daughter, but as a medical professional. He wanted to understand what was happening to his body. I pulled out more papers, medical charts I was authorized to share, correspondence from Dad's lawyers, board meeting minutes with my signature. He knew the statistics, I continued. 30% of stroke survivors have another within 2 years. He needed to plan for the possibility that he might be incapacitated. So he asked who I'd trust to make medical decisions for someone. I explained medical power of attorney. Then he asked if the same concept existed for business. Douglas's face was cycling through shades of red I usually only saw in cardiac patients. "But why you? You're just a nurse." I finished. "Just the daughter who spent every Saturday at the factory as a kid, learning every machine? Just the one who worked nights through college to pay my own way while you all got MBA programs funded? Just the person who's been reviewing Dad's medical charts and translating them into business impact assessments." You've been running the company? Preston's champagne flute tilted dangerously. For 3 months. Check the quarterly reports, I suggested. Productivity is up 18%. We landed the Jameson contract, the one Douglas said was impossible. I renegotiated the union agreement without a single day of strikes. Oh, and I implemented the employee health initiative that's already reduced our insurance costs by 12%. Caroline was frantically scrolling through her phone, presumably checking financial reports. Her face went pale. The Beijing expansion, that was you? That was me, I confirmed. Turns out, understanding health and safety regulations in healthcare translates remarkably well to international manufacturing standards. Who knew? This is fraud, Douglas sputtered. You deceived us. I fulfilled Dad's wishes, I corrected. While you three were plotting to divide his life's work based on your assumptions about my career, I was actually running it. Every major decision for 3 months has had my signature. Every board meeting has had me in the CEO chair. You just never bothered to ask who E. Morrison was in the meeting minutes. I pulled out my phone, showing them emails from the board, major clients, and department heads. All addressed to CEO Morrison. All responded to by me. But the board meeting last week, Caroline protested. They said they supported the restructuring. They supported my restructuring, I clarified. The one that promotes Hendricks to CFO, brings in Palmer as COO, and maintains family ownership while preventing any hostile takeovers, internal or otherwise. You can't do this, Preston said weakly. We're the ones with business experience. Your experience? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Douglas, you've been fired from 3 firms for ethical violations. Caroline, your startup burned through $2 million in investor money with nothing to show for it. And Preston, you've been operations manager for 5 years without a single innovation or improvement. You know why Dad made you operations manager? To keep you from damaging anything important. The truth hung in the air like a cardiac monitor's final flatline. Meanwhile, I continued, I've spent 15 years making life-or-death decisions, managing teams under extreme pressure, adapting to constantly changing situations, and solving complex problems with limited resources. Every ICU is a masterclass in operations management. Every code blue is a lesson in leadership. Every family conference is a negotiation. But you never showed interest in the business, Douglas said desperately. Because every time I tried, you dismissed me, I replied. Remember when I suggested the employee wellness program 10 years ago? You laughed. Said I should stick to taking blood pressure. That program is now saving us $500,000 annually. Or when I pointed out the inefficiencies in the supply chain. The same ones I noticed from handling medical supplies. You said medical knowledge didn't apply to manufacturing. The consultant you hired for $100,000 recommended exactly what I'd suggested for free. My phone buzzed. A message from Dad's doctor. I read it and felt my throat tighten. Dad's awake, I said softly. He's asking for his CEO. That would be me. Caroline stood abruptly. We'll contest this. We'll sue. With what grounds? I asked. I have legal power of attorney. I've been operating successfully for 3 months. The board supports me. The employees support me. Most importantly, Dad supports me. Or did you think I was making these decisions in a vacuum? I pulled out a tablet, showing them video calls from Dad's hospital room. Him nodding as I explained decisions. Him giving thumbs up to initiatives. Him painstakingly typing messages with his one good hand. He can't speak yet, I said. But he can think. He can approve. He can lead through me. Every major decision has been his, filtered through someone who actually understands both his vision and his medical limitations. You've been meeting with him, Preston said numbly. While you were plotting to take over? I finished. Yes. Every morning before my shift. Every evening after. Weekends. Because that's what you do for family. You show up. Douglas slumped in his chair. What happens now? Now. I gathered the unsigned papers they'd prepared, dropping them in the shredder. Now you have choices. You can accept positions in the company under the new structure. Positions that match your actual abilities, not your assumptions. Or you can cash out your minority stakes at fair market value and pursue other opportunities. Minority stakes? Caroline's voice cracked. 20% each for you 3, I said. 40% for me as acting CEO. Dad retains 20% until he decides otherwise. The board approved it yesterday. But that gives you control, Douglas protested. Yes, I agreed. It does. Because I've earned it. Not through degrees or assumptions or birthright, but through showing up every day for 3 months and proving that leadership isn't about titles, it's about service. I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and the next board meeting is Thursday at 7 a.m. I scheduled it early so I can make my shift at the hospital. Yes, I'm keeping my nursing job. Turns out, the skills transfer both ways. You can't do both, Caroline said weakly. Watch me, I replied. I've been doing both for 3 months. The company's thriving, and I haven't lost a single patient. Funny how perspective changes when you stop underestimating people based on their scrubs. As I walked through the factory floor toward the exit, workers nodded respectfully. They'd known for weeks. The CEO who understood when their kids were sick, who implemented better health benefits, who actually listened to their safety concerns. My phone rang. Henderson from the board. Emma? How did it go? About as expected, I said. They're in shock. They'll adjust, he said warmly. Your father chose well. Take care of him. The company's in good hands, nurses' hands. I smiled, thinking about the long road ahead. Dad's recovery would take months, maybe years. The company would face challenges. My siblings would either adapt or leave. But for now, I had a father to visit, a company to run, and a shift to prepare for. Because that's what nurses do. We juggle impossible loads, solve complex problems, and somehow keep everyone alive in the process. The difference was, now I had the paperwork to prove I could do it in a boardroom too. As I drove to the hospital, I passed a billboard for Morrison Manufacturing. Our slogan, unchanged for 40 years. Built on trust, delivered with care. For the first time, I truly understood what Dad had meant when he chose those words. And why, when he needed someone to preserve them, he'd turn to the daughter who lived them every day. Even if she was just a nurse.